It's your girl, Ariana, and I wanted to talk to you about last night. Okay, so I have critical points as to why you need to watch this video for the next 5 to 10 minutes to let me break down the spiritual meaning of the whole Kendrick Lamar, Drake beef, P. Diddy, and all of this stuff. As you guys don't know, or some of you may know, my name is Ariana. I am known as a top favorite psychic medium. I've did readings for many celebrities, but I don't really practice my psychic gifts and call myself a psychic medium. I am originally a prophet, okay? And the reason why is because I had a whole process with God, and we went in deeply about my gifts and talents and what they should be categorized as. So I'm not a psychic medium, I am a prophet. So I want to go ahead and bring forth the whole thing and break down this whole spiritual thing with the Kendrick Lamar, Drake, West Coast, East Coast, P. Diddy, and what is actually taking place. So listen up. So first off, I want to begin to talk about that last night was the rebirth, okay? Rebirth. Last night was the initial phase of the rebirth. So what is happening spiritually is that the divine members of God, of the chosen one, of the 144,000, of those ones that were the original children that lost or their DNA was stolen by reptilians, by draconians, by government officials. Literally, last night was the rebirth of what is actually taking place. Listen, I have some very intel information, and this is going to blow your mind. So the government is fully aware of how the Crips, the Bloods, the Hoovers, the Pirus, the everybody, okay? The government is fully aware of their power and the metrics of their power, right? So last night, Kendrick Lamar, when he dropped the They Not Like Us and put it on the Netflix series, what he was initially doing and what was actually taking place, yes, it goes bigger and beyond the Drake beef. Why? Because this is the initiation process of the royal DNA. The royal DNA. He was basically claiming rights back to the throne to rise the West Coast in the awakening of this new journey, what is processing. Now, if many of you don't know, a lot of brown folk, a lot of black folks, we are awakening, right? We're coming through our initiation phase. We're awakening. We're starting our own businesses. We're using our own money or using systems or metrics such as platforms to grow, to heal, to expand and consciousness and to expand our pockets, because for a very long time, we were suppressed throughout and still suppressed. I mean, a lot of us, including myself, went to school, got a bachelor's degree, did this and did that, and then you come out and you can't get a job in the corporate world. So a lot of brown and black people are initiating, which I just say brown because we all, I don't, you know, black is the mecca, you know, whatever floats your boat. Brown is just my term, okay? So a lot of brown people literally have tapped into these organizations, these systems that were used against us to make our wealth and grow our name, to grow our community, right? So a lot of the systems that they're banning, they're growing the community. So let me just break this down by points so you guys can stay with me here. Okay, point 1, the initiation spiritual awakening phase of the royal DNA is happening right now as we speak. This is the rise of the royal DNA. Now, y'all remember when it was the East Coast, West Coast beef that was going on between Biggie and Tupac? All of that was about the initiation phase of killing the royal DNA. So they killed the royal DNA of look at me, Michael Jackson. That's coming in through Spirit is saying all these names. I hear Michael Jackson as well. It was a killing of the royal DNA through Biggie, through Tupac. And basically what they were doing is shutting down the rise of that DNA. The people that came from the West Coast, listen, during riots in the 70s and the 60s and the 50s and all those things that was happening on the West Coast, those were the warrior DNA. Okay, those were the warriors. Those were the one that was actually fighting for the rights of black and brown people. Those were the warriors that laid their life on the line, and you can literally come into an event or come into an organization, a walking or whatever it was that they were going to have, and you will notice that the police, the government officials did not mess with those type of individuals with the West Coast, okay? Because that was the warrior DNA. Then we have the East Coast. The East Coast is a lineage that comes from the warrior DNA, but it's not a full lineage. This is like your half and half lineage. And the reason why I'm explaining it is because this is how Spirit literally explained it to me. This is when the government knew that what the warrior DNA was from Tupac, from Biggie. A lot of that, the government knew what that initial warrior DNA looked like. So they stole that DNA from Tupac, from all of the originators, right? The originator makers, coming from the Black Panther family, the originators, the OGs, they stole that DNA and recreated it and amplified it to a whole nother level on the East Coast. So once they did that, you guys, then you had people that took over and reigned in those areas such as East Coast, West Coast, and then you had the people that sat in those positions. Now, the people that sat in those positions at East Coast, the king at the time was Tupac on the West Coast, even though he was born on the East Coast. When he migrated to the West because it naturally pulled his warrior DNA, because he was all about fighting for the rights of the people. The Mecca, he was all about making sure the whole person was being communicated and amplified in a way to let people know and shine the light on what was actually going on in the communities. Police brutalities, the things that were actually happening in the government system, the CIA, everything. Tupac was that mic dropper for that. So when Tupac was basically gone, unalived, right? When he was unalived, it gave the East Coast time to basically structure in that warrior DNA. They were trying to, but the East Coast represents the mother DNA, okay? It represents the pacifying DNA, okay? We can scare you, we can pacify you, we can control you. The West Coast is rebels. You're not controlling nothing on the West, okay? The West is the streets. The West is the people. Why did you hear the conversation of the song of Kendrick Lamar to say, they are not like us? Because they are not of the people. They are not of the royal DNA. We hold that metric. We hold that standard. And here you are initiating Drake to say that he's a part of that royal DNA. And if you guys don't pay attention, listen to this. Not only that, the so-called so within the government system, there's a hierarchy order. And listen, I know all of this. I done went down into the dungeon, to the dark, and I know I got a lot of tea on a lot of stuff, y'all. A lot of tea on a lot of stuff. So I'm gonna drop it because woo, it's spicy. Okay, so do you remember how the king has sat at each side of the throne, the East Coast and the West Coast? Well, the only person that was basically there's only a couple of people that were alive or that are still alive today that realized and witnessed the actual kingship of what was going on during those times when Tupac was alive, during Biggie was alive, all of those times. Now on the East Coast, the only one that was left reigning through that whole entire process was who? It was who? Yeah, you guessed it, P. Diddy. P. Diddy was the only one he's the only one now on this side that's left on the East Coast that went through that time with Tupac, with Biggie, during that whole situation of what was actually going on, because they were fighting for royalty rights, the royalty of the kingship of the bloodline of the highest, the bloodline of the highest order. So you have the birthright order, and then you have the signed documented order. Okay, the birthright order is saying, this is my blood, this is in my DNA. Listen to Kendrick Lamar's song. I got royalty inside my DNA. All of this is going deep down into the tunnel. We're not talking about what is being plastered or written out. So there's multiple ways into a manipulation of the rights to your DNA or the rights to your awakening process. You can get initiated through your bloodline. You can get initiated through manipulation, which is by mixing bloodlines, and that's what more the East Coast represents. And then you can also get a writ of initiation, where people write out, on this day that I initiate, and we can get into that. That's what the government does. They initiate themselves into into these royal bloodlines by stealing certain DNA, then literally putting it inside of their body, and now they've entered into a contract with that particular DNA to try to claim their rights. And now they mix with people that they know that have the original rights of this DNA. And you know if you carry this DNA because you know you're the chosen one. You know when you're the chosen one because you know when you know. You know when you know that you are the chosen one. You have not been shooketh by anything that anyone has done in your lifetime. You ain't scared. I ain't never scared. I ain't never scared. You have never been shooketh. Okay? So you know that you hold the actual compass within your blood to the original order, to the original rights of what is happening in this process, which is the awakening. It's a spiritual awakening. This is so deep. So the only one that was left on the East Coast that really went through the whole entire process during that time was actually, or is, P. Diddy. He was the last, okay, you guys never played chess, but I played chess, okay? I don't know if you ever played chess, but if you have, follow me here. You have certain key parts to the chessboard. P. Diddy was probably that rook, okay? I wouldn't even call him a knight. He probably could be a knight, but I would say more like a rook. You know, he was sitting up there very close, possibly, he could be a knight, but possibly very close to the kingship order, which is dealing with deep order within England, deep order within those sort of rights, okay? We're not talking about rights as rights. We're talking about rights, rights, okay? Where they put in petitions and initiate through different spiritual systems, through different organizations, through blood, through all these different things to become a part of something that they weren't originally born into, okay? So P. Diddy's up there. He's gone. They're knocking him off the totem pole. Now, who was up there on the West Coast that actually stood in place? It was Tupac. Tupac was there in place. And then when they knocked him off, there was no official leader, organizer, someone that stood in the gap for brown people in LA the way Tupac did. There was no one that actually spoke out to what is actually going on. So then you had a series of things that were being carried out, where they was basically doing online or live sacrifices or live, so basically like the spirit of LA needed sacrifices to keep it alive of this, and to keep people remembering what the royal DNA or the royal bloodline was. So all of these people were standing up, and the Rodney King, all of that stuff was coming out because those were the live sacrifices that were taking place to not let the royal DNA die. That was the live sacrifices that people were seeing around the world. This is still going on. Those were the live sacrifices that was happening online. So when those actually took place online, what that was saying is that these parts of the royal DNA is still alive, and they're trying to basically unalive the royal DNA through various forms of metrics, through the police, the criminal justice system, through CIA, through all of these things. You can go back to as far as Malcolm X. You can go back to it real deep into history, and you'll realize how powerful the culture of LA and how powerful the OG movement from Crips, Blood, Piru, Hoover, all of that. You can go deep, deep, deep into those systems and realize those were actual political systems. Those were royal bloodline systems that the CIA and the government did not have access to. When they started to cooperate with other people that had a portion of that DNA on the East Coast, then they were able to tap into some of the unknown things that are completely secret about how they communicate, about how the metrics are for that life, for that royal, because it's a communication. A lot of people don't know that West Coast and different gangs within that area, they communicate through their language of dance and through their signs and a lot of things that I can go deep into, but I'm not, because I'm not going to shed what that communication style is, because it is a part of secrecy. However, the government did tap into that secrecy and started sharing it across the world. So when they pretty much unalived the one person that was left, which was Tupac, now we have P. Diddy that was on the East Coast, and he's falling off. This is the rise of the new bloodline. This is the rise of the royal bloodline. The ones that are literally taking their throne back to the next level. The children that are saying enough is enough. Enough is enough, and we're claiming our DNA. We're taking it and we're doing what we need to do because you guys initially stole it. So I'm going to go into part 2 and how this is so critical to spirituality and the different parts, and just breaking this down, because that was only key 1. Key 2 of the concert, we're going to get into that, why it was so critical in the spiritual element, what is the spiritual signs behind everything. Yeah, we're going to get into it. It's so deep. Okay, so today we're going to be using or spraying Burberry Goddess. This is not sponsored. We talked about this before. So Burberry Goddess, if you would like to sponsor this video or any other videos, come and reach my contact down below. But Burberry Goddess is so inspiring. So I want to thank you guys for watching Align with Ariana. Of course, I hope you guys subscribe and hit those button girlies as we do these basic makeup sessions, talk sessions, so we can get into what is really, really going on around here, because a lot of people won't tell you, but I will. Make sure you hit that subscribe button. Also, if you're looking to get more knowledge and increase your knowledge and your whereabouts on how to start your YouTube page, you can click the link below to join the master class all about social media and how to grow your channel. So I want to thank you guys for aligning with Ariana. I'll see you soon. I love you guys.